Hello, welcome to Comic Tropes. I'm your host, Chris, and today we're going to talk about a very successful manga called Rent-A-Girlfriend. It's been running in Weekly Shonen magazine since the summer of 2017, coming up on 10 years. That's pretty impressive. But I'm actually not here to discuss the story too much. Rather, I want to talk to you about the author, Reiji Miyajima. He's honestly a really good artist. But that's also not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to tell you about how Reiji seems to be a man who is apparently very much in love with the main girl in his own story, Chizuru. But is Reiji really in love with his own creation, like the Greek myth of Pygmalion the sculptor? Or is this just really clever social media trolling for marketing buzz? That's what we're going to talk about today. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, do all those normal things. You know the whole deal there. Let's get into it. Reiji Miyajima was born in Tokyo in December of 1985. He studied art at Tokyo Polytechnic University, where he focused on visual storytelling and illustration. During college, he won an honorable mention for a one-shot manga called Pool no Saboten, and had another one-shot after graduating called Icon in 2008. These experiences led to his professional break-in the manga industry, illustrating AKB 49. This steady industry presence eventually positioned him to both write and draw his own series, leading to his breakout success with Rent-A-Girlfriend. Kodansha began publishing his story in 2017 in Weekly Shonen magazine. Today, it has over 430 chapters with over 15 million collected tankobon volumes in print. It's been adapted into an anime, a game, a live-action show, and even a spin-off manga series. I think Reiji is a good artist. He's actually started teaching online classes at kakikami.com, where he details very specific storytelling techniques. But I have to admit, the manga isn't quite for me. I enjoy romantic comedy stuff in manga. Dan has that element, and I actually love that one. But this book, Rent-A-Girlfriend, just does a few things to irritate me and a few things that creep me out. The plot involves a young college student named Kazuya being dumped by his girlfriend and hiring a rental girlfriend, Chizuru, to cheer himself up. Renting people to act as friends or family members is a real thing in Japan, although I will push back a little. I'll say it's probably a bit exaggerated as to how common it is. Anyway, due to various situations, Kazuya pretends to be dating to lie to his grandmother and his friends. Then the manga comes up with a number of reasons to keep them in contact, like the fact that they attend the same university and they find out that they're literal next-door neighbors. Kazuya falls in love, but Chizuru sees it as purely a professional interaction. And even though a number of other girls throw themselves at Kazuya, sometimes quite literally, he has eyes only for Chizuru. And as you can imagine, since the book has been running for nearly 10 years, Chizuru slowly warms to Kazuya. But a decade is also a really long time to stretch out a will they, won't they story. Some readers believe Reiji is doing this intentionally because he's in love with Chizuru. He wants to delay her getting together with anyone else. Others believe Kazuya is a self-insert. Either option is a bit cringe, or at least strange. If he's a self-insert, Reiji must have a humiliation fetish, because there's this huge build-up to Chizuru finally admitting that she has feelings for Kazuya, only to reject him right away after that. There are scenes early on where Kazuya jerks off while imagining being with Chizuru. Kazuya gets a haircut in the more recent chapters, and a lot of readers think it brings him a lot closer visually to his creator. I'm inclined to agree with that. And while it's tempting to break down how much Kazuya has spent on dates with Chizuru specifically, as well as including the chapters where he supports her dream of becoming an actress, it's safe to say it's over $20,000 minimum. Don't believe the posts that claim over $250,000. The math there is wrong. I'll just tell you that much. That's still a lot to spend on a girl that can't decide if she wants to date you or not. It isn't supposed to take place over 10 years. They're still in college. It makes their interaction seem so transactional. The whole time Kazuya is doing that, other characters are interested in him that he rejects. That includes Ruka, who is a high schooler. There are way too many scenes of her trying to seduce Kazuya. Just a couple weeks ago, Kazuya woke up in bed with Ruka and instantly jizzes his pants.
Jizz in my pants.
Unfortunately, that happens a lot in this manga.
Boner alert.
Either that or he stares at girls and gets an erection. It's just not for me. But to Reiji, Chizuru is the ideal girl, and he often acts like she's real. He posts about her every April, wishing her a happy birthday. He posted about her in the first year of making the manga, calling her, quote, the ideal girlfriend. Then things began to escalate, especially in 2022, when he began posting drawings he made of Chizuru on dates with him, around the city, on train rides, hanging out at home. Most of these were innocent enough, like having coffee together, where he posted to Twitter saying, quote, on holidays, we often have tea and dates together. But some of them are way more pervy, like finding Chizuru in the shower. On that post, Reiji said, quote, this girl is my incredibly cute girlfriend named Chizuru Mizuhara. I got properly scolded after this, but she's a very kind girl who always forgives me in the end. In this post, he gives Chizuru hit points depending on what part of her body you get to touch. Many are more innocent, like posing by a love sign. But then you'll come across one where Chizuru's panties are on the floor with the hashtag underwear day. What are the implications there? Probably just a paper cut since this is real life. One post is Chizuru on a swing, where Reiji says he wishes he was a swing. Some of the stuff he posts is in the middle of all of that, like retweeting cosplayers as Chizuru. But boy, was Reiji excited when a life-size doll of Chizuru was created. He posted a photo of the full-size statue and said he'd asked the sculptors to give him the ability to take her clothes off. To celebrate the 200th chapter of the manga, Kodansha produced a life-size Chizuru, and one fan got to win a date with her at the Asakusa Hanayashiki amusement park, which had recently been featured in the manga. But when the fan posted a photo of the date, Reiji quoted it, saying, quote, she's rented. He then went to the park with his own life-size Chizuru and took new photos. I guess he got jealous? Reiji has also shared photos of a doll that he keeps at home, focusing on various body parts. Did I mention that Reiji is married with children in real life? I sincerely believe he's posting about Chizuru like this for viral marketing purposes, but that doesn't really make it much less disturbing. 6 years ago, Reiji was featured in a documentary on the channel Paolo in Tokyo, and it started with him waking up at an apartment and walking to his studio, even though the studio is in the first floor of the house that his family lives in. So does he keep a second place to also work? Or just not live with his family? Maybe there's some sort of cultural thing that I don't get there. I don't get it though. As far as the story delays with Kazuya and Chizuru becoming a real couple, there are a number of story conceits. The early chapters move fast, but Kazuya is weak and shallow, just dreaming about sex. Chizuru will go from telling Kazuya that they have to end their lie one moment to inviting him to share a bed with her within the same chapter. Lots of start and stop and start again. Ruka finds out that Kazuya is renting Chizuru and blackmails him into dates. At one point, Kazuya and Chizuru go on a vacation to Hawaii that narratively only takes place over 2 days, but consumed 43 chapters, almost a year's worth of stories, only to lead to a kiss from Chizuru that she instantly backpedals on by saying it was part of the rental experience. That was followed by Chizuru avoiding Kazuya for 3 months, building up to her confessing that she cares for him in chapter 379, and then instantly walking that back the following chapter by saying her job prevents her from being able to commit to a relationship. The story becomes a slog to get through instead of fun. Again, just my opinion. It's clear that Reiji draws Chizuru as a beautiful woman as a bit of fan service, which is fair for this genre of romantic comedy. As recently as last month, he described Chizuru as the, quote, ideal woman to Anime Corner. In 2020, Kodansha interviewed Reiji about the upcoming anime adaptation, and he said it was important not to portray Chizuru as cold or distant. He said, quote, I want the heroine's character, Chizuru Mizuhara, to be cherished. I think I conveyed this to the director at the first meeting, and he understood it and worked on it. It's clear Chizuru is very important to Reiji. He told Crunchyroll in 2021 that he believes Chizuru has all the qualities to make up the, quote, ideal girlfriend. The strangest part about Reiji Miyajima writing Rent-a-Girlfriend is that the premise was not just a fantasy. He actually tried the service himself. Reiji revealed in the Kodansha interview that he rented a girlfriend and even interviewed her about her work. In another interview, he said he rented the same woman 3 times, joking that she was almost like a producer, helping him understand the world he was writing about. The experience changed the way he saw rental girlfriends. They're real people with real jobs and real goals. And that became the emotional foundation of Chizuru, a character whose entire identity revolves around the question of where performance ends and genuine emotion begins. Ultimately, I personally think Reiji is posting about Chizuru as though she's real as a marketing ploy. He knows it gets people talking. I'm doing it right now. Reiji is good at marketing. He sells classes, limited edition Blu-rays with special art, locked social media posts. He's securing his bags, folks, and I can't fault him for that. But when it comes to the creepy fan service stuff, I think he's promoting bad behavior. He's glamorizing transactional behavior and blurring the lines of fantasy and reality. I don't think he believes Chizuru is real, but he could be convincing some of his readers of that idea. Oh, and also he makes a manga called The Shionji Family, where one day the father reveals to his kids that they're all adopted, so all of the main characters' sisters try to hook up with him. Complete pervert. Keep reading comics. I hope this was fun, folks. I know this is closer to a story time than an analysis of techniques. It's just a weird manga. And I will admit, I fell down the rabbit hole for a while enjoying it because I think that the first few arcs, the first couple years maybe of the manga, move at a good pace. I didn't always enjoy it. Sometimes I felt disturbed. But the art was good, and there were occasionally funny bits, and I felt like the characters were evolving. And then you realize it's going to go on for like another 7 years, not making any real progress. But I do have several manga creators that I want to talk about on a much more serious level that are really important. I've always wanted to talk about influential people like Go Nagai and Shigeru Mizuki that I think are known, but they're really, really, really famous over in Japan. And over here, because they're sort of older, I don't know if people always know as much about them. And I love looking at the evolution of comics and manga and bande dessinée to see some of these influential people early on. I think it's exciting and relevant and maybe can introduce some people to some very cool old stories. So that's coming soon. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and be sure to check out my show on Monday nights on Comic Tropes After Dark, about 3 hours every week, where I talk about the news, review the latest comics, occasionally do interviews. Also on that channel, comic book artist Jim Maffood and I often review bad or cult hit movies. And he's got a great new art book out called The Ballpoint Slayer Volume 3. Just some really incredible artwork in this. I think this piece is super cool. There's a lot of really amazing art in this that will inspire and show you all sorts of really cool techniques.